Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 3rd of May 2019, so welcome everyone and welcome to this Friday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts that we looked at this morning just to see how they're getting along. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the DXY, so the dollar index. So, as you know, we did get the employment figures from the US, and of course, the non-farm payrolls. Well, no, not of course, not of course, but non-farm payrolls showed up with a very strong number. So the expectation was around 181K, but it came out at around 263K. So very good number. We saw the dollar getting hit. And now if you look at the cash indices of the equity markets, you can see that they are pushing higher. So looking at DXY here, DXY is taking a hit. It initially did reach its high today near the 98.10 level. I was talking about this one in one of my previous videos about the 98.10 level, and now it's retracing back down. It's currently balancing around this 97.85 zone. So what we're going to do here, we need to see that nice good break and a close below that level before we could consider further declines, and further declines towards the 97.5250 area approximately there. And if that is not enough for DXY bears, the index could get dragged here towards this 200 EMA or even this level here near the 97.26. So for now, long story short, basically it is looking quite negative, especially if we see further move away here to the downside away from this 97.85 level. So initially you could in a way target today's pivot, which is around the 97.73 approximately there, but like I said, the slightly better area of potential support is seen here near the 97.5250 area. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. Gold, as you probably understood, gold is popping to the upside. So it managed to rebound nicely from this upside support line. Now, I talked about this one this morning. I talked about this upside support line as well, this medium-term upside support line taken from the lowest point of August, basically, and the commodity, the precious metal, managed to rebound from it nicely after having a nice false breakout yesterday here. So now it's pushing higher. Now, what I was saying this morning is to watch out for this 1276 level. A nice good pop above it could potentially lead towards higher levels, and this is where now it's the commodity is sitting at near the 1278 zone, near its 50 EMA. But to be honest, our next target here is around the 1281 zone, which also coincides with the 100 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. If it continues to push further up here, keep an eye on this 200 EMA then, or this 1288-89 zone approximately there, which is marked near the highs of last week. So for now, guys, this is looking quite positive. Let's see if it can continue pushing higher. It certainly is trying to do that. Like I said, first we're going to keep a close eye on the 1281 zone and see how it's going to perform around there. And yeah, we'll just take it from there. In terms of the downside, well, the downside is still remains this scenario here. We need to see that good break below the 1266, but it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table today. Bitcoin, very quickly. Also talked about this one this morning. We did have a nice push higher here, and we continue to push higher today. It's breaking above the psychological 6,000 level, and I'm looking here on the Bitfinex exchange, so it continues to push higher. Our next target in line is around the 6,240 level, and I've mentioned that level this morning as well. That's marked near the lows of the 31st of October, so keep your eyes on that one. Good potential target here, the 6,240. Slightly above that, we do have the 6,500 level as well, so also keep your eyes on this one. But looking at this right now, like I said, it is looking quite bullish. Let's see if it actually manages to reach the 6,240 level today. Certainly that's our target right now. In terms of the downside, we need to see that good drop below the initially below the 5,750, and then of course ideally just a better confirmation if we see a break of the 5,695 level here, and this way we could consider slightly lower levels then. Jumping into euro dollar, so this is quite interesting here. Initially, this is where we were trading at this morning, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1175 zone. So in the morning when I was covering this one, we were still trading below it, and what I said is that we may see a further slide lower given the fact that it's trading below this key area of resistance at 111.75. You can see that now the after the NFP release, we see the euro dollar pushing back up here. It's aiming for this 111.75 level. Let's see if it actually manages to reach that again, and it would be very interesting to see if it actually manages to close above this level. Now if it does, then the next area for us is going to be this upside support line. Again we're going to test it from we're going to aim for, towards it where it could test it from underneath, but again for us in this scenario now, we would like to see a push back above this upside support line in order to kind of consider slightly higher levels. By higher levels I mean the 1.1210 and the 1.1228 level that I've kind of talked about this whole week. So slightly above that, we do have the 200 EMA as well. So here for now, basically it is trying to push higher. That's great. Great news for the bulls. Let's see what it does with the 111.75, if it actually manages to reach that. If it does, then if it breaks that, this is our next target, is going to be this upside support line. A test from underneath could be possible, and then we'll take it from there, because like I said, for us to turn bullish on this one, we would like to see a push back above this this upside support line. In terms of the downside, now this is kind of changing a little bit. What we're going to do here is, of course, initially we will target the recent lows here that were reached today near the 1.1135. But if that fails to withhold, I mean, if we see a break below the below these today's lows, then the next target for us is around 1.1120, because this is going to be the one for us, the more important one, where we will probably wait for a break off, which in order to kind of consider lower areas again. So basically, in other words, a break below the 1.1120 would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and then we could target areas around the 1.11 or even below that. So for now, guys, these seems that the downside could be slightly off the table, but then again, we still have the full US session to trade through. So jumping into EURJPY very quickly here. So very interesting developments happening here as well. The pair managed to drop lower and test its key area of support here near the 124.25, from which kind of rebounded and pushed higher again. So this is going to become a very important line for us, and let me just quickly adjust that very quickly, guys. I do apologize for some of the alerts that are hitting here. So basically, what we need to do here, guys, is wait for this 124.25 level to break before we could consider further declines. And ideally, of course, this way the pair would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could then target lower areas like the 123.80 or even below that. And just to kind of show you what that level was here, the 123.80 was a very good area of support here back in March, and on the 22nd of March, and also on the 27th of March. So very good target here, but again, we need to see that nice good break below the 124.25 level first, and only then we'll consider further declines. So looking at the last pair very quickly here, USDCAD. Now I talked about this one this morning as well, and basically what I was saying is we need to see a nice good drop below this 1.3450 level in order to consider lower areas. The only thing is, what I also mentioned was that even if we see a further slide, lower here, towards these 50 EMA and the 21 EMA, this is where the rate could get held, and this is where we will be very cautious, because of course if it continues to travel below that, then yep, this is opening the path back to the 1.34 level. But if it struggles to remain below the 50 EMA and the 21 EMA, now we could see maybe this one reversing back up here. But again, in this situation, we're not going to like jump into those bullish trades here. For us now, in order to consider higher levels, initially we would like to see a push back above the 1.3450 level. Of course, then we do have some obstacles here above that could play out, and let me just get rid of some of these. Let me just quickly put this new one on the chart. So this is where we're going to be looking out here for the 1.3474-75 zone, approximately there. So basically, in other words, if we see a push above the 1.3450, that's great for the bulls. We could see further acceleration to the upside, but for those who are more on the cautious side, wait for that break above the 1.3474, and then we will consider higher levels like the 1.3520 or even higher. But again, for now, because we are below the 1.3450, this is our little kind of worry zone here. We're not really that much bearish. Of course, we are looking at lower levels, but again, we would like to see a further slide below the 21 EMA and the 50 EMA, and only then we'll consider a possible move towards the 1.34 zone, or even actually this 200 EMA. For now, of course, it is where it is. Let's continue observing the 1.3450 level today, and also keep your eyes on the 50 EMA and the 21 EMA. Let's see how that's going to play out today. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me on Monday, as always, for my Traders Espresso, and that's 6 o'clock GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week, guys. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.